in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to actually get track power onto your LGB tracks, and you can do this in a number of ways and obviously with a number of different prices. Now if you buy an LGB starter kit, chances are you'll have something which looks like this. Now this is one from a starter kit from many years ago. This is actually only half an amp, but it's more than sufficient for around about 2 or 3 trains, depending on how many motors they've got in them. It's an analog controller, so you've got your switch, it goes forward, or you've got reverse, and that is about it. It gives out about half an amp, so it's not a tremendous amount of power for it. And this one here is actually only 18 volt it'll go up to, so it won't actually do the full 24 volt, which some of them actually do. On the side, you've got nothing, and on the other side you can probably see you've also got nothing. So it's a very basic controller. The only thing you've got to worry about is on the front here where you've got the blue and the red. These are 2 connections that you can use to actually connect it up to the track. Now the great thing with analog setups is that they are very easy to use. It's just a case of putting it in, plugging it into the track, and away to go. But what do you do if you've got a few more trains or you've got a bit more of a complex setup? These things are great if you've just got a small circle or if you've got an indoor layout. But if you've got something a little bit more complex, with say a few points on there, you may have a decoupler or you may have a few other bits and bobs, you may need something with a bit more power. Now, you could go for a setup that looks something like this. I'll go through it in a moment. It does look a little bit complex, but it is fairly straightforward. If you've seen some of my other videos, you may have seen me wandering around with this controller. And this is the LGB MTS system. MTS stands for multi-train system. And what it means is you can run 2 or more trains on the same track at the same time, and they can do different things. The other big advantage with this system is that you can also run analog and digital trains at the same time on the same track. I know some of the other digital systems, like the ones Bachmann, I think it's called the Commander, their version doesn't allow you to run analog and digital at the same time, but this LGB one does. Now this isn't a standard setup. I've added a few more bits and bobs onto it to make it a little bit better, and a little bit better for me. If I just walk you through the main parts. This here is the transformer. These are around about £150 depending on where you get them from. Now you can get these second hand, and quite regularly they come up on eBay and on various other shops at around about £100, so they are quite cheap. They output around about 5 amps, so it's quite a lot of power, and it'll run probably about 5 trains fairly easily. Plus you can run other bits and bobs like sound cars or lighting off it as well. You've got this, which is the MTS controller. Now this is the 3rd generation of this. Depending on where you get it, and obviously depending on who you get it from, depends on the price that you pay. At the moment you can buy these brand new for about £260. Now the big difference with this and some of the older versions is this number here, where you've got 5506P. The P stands for parallel, because you've got parallel and series circuits. Now with the MTS3, which is what this is, it'll run in parallel and series. There isn't that much of a difference between them. The only difference really is that if you've got some of the older decoders, they generally prefer to work in series, and depending on how they're programmed, you may need a series setup or a parallel. If you get one of these, which is the parallel version, it can run in series as well. So this can do the best of both. Now you've got this as well, which is the more advanced controller. It's a multifunction controller, and if I zoom in you can see some of the different functions that it actually does. You can control points with it, trains, you can control multiple points and multiple trains as well, and you can also program with this version using the provided programming things that come with it. Now, you'll notice this doesn't have any wires coming away from it, and the reason why it doesn't have wires is because in the back here there's a battery pack, and I've also got this wireless adapter on it. Now on its own this would cost about £140 for a brand new one. Again, you can probably pick them up second hand a little bit cheaper. There is another version of this with a turny knob on it, which allows you to control trains and trains only. The cheaper version of this is about £100, but the only thing you can do is control trains. You can still control some of the sounds, but with this one, you can program locos, you can program points, you can program loads of different things with it, and you can also run different items, whereas the other one can only run trains. So this is the one to go for. Now, if you did want a wireless setup, which allows you to walk around like this, you will need a few other bits and bobs. You can see in the corner here, this is a little wireless receiver, and this obviously pairs up with the sorry, that's the transmitter, this is the receiver, sorry. This obviously pairs up together with both of these. Now you need this part number here, 55050. This is the part which goes in underneath. You'll also need this part here, which is 55055. These are the both receivers which go together. Now with this setup, it does cost quite a bit of money to actually get you going. In terms of the total outlay there's probably about £700 worth, but it is a fantastic setup. It does just work. One of the good things with the LGB kits that I haven't had with some of the other ones is they do really work great. They just work perfectly. To turn it on, you just hold down the F button if the batteries were in there, which obviously mine are dead. Oop, there we are. Does work. So hold down the F button and you can then obviously select different things. So at the moment I'm on locos. If I want to go to switches, you can see it says there S for switch, and then you just select the switch number that you want to change. It is really that simple. Now the difference with this version and some of the other ones is this. If I just open the box a little bit. Oop, this, by the way, is another really long lead which can connect into the back of this setup. You can get some PC software which you can just install in on your computer, and you can use the computer to control the trains. To be honest, it really does take the fun out of it, I've got to be honest. So what I did want to show you is this. This is the alternative. If you didn't want to go for a wireless setup, you could go for this, which does come with the £134 controller. This is the normal plug-in, and all it does is it plugs in around the back of this MTS station. If I just show you the connections here. So you've got the track pickup there, and you've got, if I just bring the light over a little bit, you've got the track pickup, which is the red and blue, plus you've also got the transformer pickup then, which is in here. Now, there is a limit to how many of these you can connect together, because obviously this is only providing 5 amps. If you've got a lot of things, you may need more than 5 amps. Light just fell. So if you've got more than 5 amps, if you've got a requirement then that your trains need more than 5 amps, you can plug a few more of these in. And as you can see at the back here, you've got a number of different ports. So potentially you could have a number of these controllers if you've got a really complex system and you've got a load of different trains on there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a digital train on here, and I'm also going to put an analog train on there as well, so you can see the difference between them when you actually put them on. So what I've done, I've put the Stein's loco on there, which is the green one, and I've put my little Pico B218 on there as well. Now, one thing to notice, when you are running a setup like this on when you've got an analog train on a digital system, it will make this funny noise. Don't worry, that is normal. The digital system obviously won't make a noise, but this one will. Now, the beauty you've got with this, if I dial in the channel number for the analog, which is 00, which obviously then puts it on the 0 channel, as it says there, and then you ask the train to move, the train will move for you like so, and then you can stop it and whatever. Now, you can see this now is all on the same track, and if I, with my commander, go 008, which then goes onto the 8th channel, this then tells the train that obviously it is going to be on the 8th. If I press one of the buttons on here to wake it up, for example number 1, you can see that it does come to life. Now if I just turn it off again, because it does get a little bit loud, but with this, now this is on the same line, and if I just move this, just go forward or reverse, we turn the lights on for example, so you can see the lights there come on, and if I just tell it to move, direction of lighting will change, and then it obviously then starts to move. Now this is on the same setup, this is on the same track, and you can see there's a digital version and an analog version working side by side. A lot of the digital setups don't actually do that, which is one of the big advantages of this. So just to summarise, these little setups with the LGB stuff are brilliant, even though they are a little bit expensive. If you can get one second hand, it's well worth going for. Don't forget, try to get this type of controller, which will save you a lot of time and aggro in the future, because you can obviously program your locos with this as well. And you can then run your digital and your analog, or your analog and digital systems, trains side by side. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment. If you've got any other questions or queries, please leave them in the comments below.